Hello, everyone, and welcome on Immigration Talk Show. This is Nipasa, and I'm going to be your host for today's session that's lined up. Thank you so much for joining us. We are streaming live right now on YouTube, and you can also definitely check us out on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on Instagram. Ask your friends and folks to join. And before we head on with today's discussion, I have this important disclaimer. And that is by watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by our experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not legal advice. Use of information is at your own risk. So I hope that you keep that in mind throughout this whole conversation and discussion today, because it's going to be a very interesting one on this topic. Can you really become a European resident without giving up your US citizenship? So folks out there who are trying to, explore some other options for yourself, I think this is where you should be. So thank you so much once again for joining us. And in today's episode, we are going to be joined by our guest who's going to help us, explore more on this topic and maybe even answer some of your questions. So, joining us today is someone whose expertise spans both immigration law and complex civil litigation. I'm very honored and happy to welcome Katia Pereira Baptista, a team leader and associate lawyer at the Immigration Department of Callado Guerrero. So, yes, with over 13 years of experience in civil litigation, Katia has been a trusted legal advisor to credit institution, rental companies, and a wide range of service providers. So, please help me welcome her once again on this show. Hi, Katia. How are you doing today?
Hi, thank you so much for the introduction. I'm doing well, and you?
I'm also doing good. I'm finally
Great.
so happy to have you here. This has been long pending, and I'm sure folks out there also have been looking forward for this. So I'm super glad we're able to do this today.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Tell us what's going on with you and your colleagues out there. How's it, especially at this time of the year?
Yeah, so the we are now starting summer, so it's good, it's great, great weather. As for our workload, we have been having crazy times these past weeks because we are always and constantly being contacted by US citizens regarding European residence and Portuguese citizenship, and only exploring how they can have like a plan B because of everything that we've been experiencing this past weeks. And I think everybody wants to have some kind of stability, and these are very unstable times. So yes, have been lots of questions lately from US citizens on how they can come to Europe, how can they try and get away a little bit of what is happening, and try to get as far as possible from, well, war that seems to be everywhere nowadays. And we are trying to explore those paths and help everybody, since we are one of the most Pacific countries in the world.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Katia, for giving us a sneak peek into your life and the firm you're working with
Yeah.
right now. I can only imagine. Yes, it's been chaotic and surprising every day, I think, with a lot of immigration updates and new
Yeah.
policies, new things coming up each day. And I really hope folks out there are not missing out on anything that they need to keep in mind. So I
Yeah,
think
we do
without
our best.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I cannot imagine, especially right now, navigating through any of these immigration statuses without a lawyer, a real attorney, who can really guide you. So,
Yeah,
so glad that,
even as a little bit confused sometimes, so it's very, very complicated. Yes.
yes, it is indeed. So, thank you. And I can
You're
already see
welcome.
Ricky for joining us. So, hello to you too, Ricky. Thank you for joining. We are going to take up your questions. Stay with us, all right? And Katya, I have a couple of questions. So I think without further ado, let's dive right into them.
Of
So,
course.
what are the basic requirements for a US citizen, to become a legal resident of a European country like Spain, Portugal, or Germany?
So I'll start by saying that Spain and Portugal are undergoing lots of changes regarding the residency status of foreigners. Germany has been more or less consistent over time, so it's always kind of difficult to obtain any kind of residency there. Spain, for example, just harden the legal requirements for visas and the investment visa, and Portugal is now the one that you can look if you want to make an investment visa. But the requirements in any European country will always depend on the route that you choose, because different visas have different requirements. And of course, different countries have different requirements as well. For example, in Portugal, generally you need to show proofs of sufficient income and financial resources to secure some kind of accommodation, buy, rent a property or purchase one, have health insurance, provide, of course, a criminal record that is not with felonies registered. This one is transversal to all the visas, and of course apply for the visa that makes more sense to the applicant. The work visa, the investment visa, you have retirement visas. So all the visas have requires of accommodation and health insurance and those minimum amounts of sufficient income. The exception is the Golden Visa, who does not require accommodation of any kind, and you only need to spend 7 days a year in Portugal. So generally, the basic requirements are the ones that I mentioned.
Thank you so much. I'm sure this must be very helpful for folks out there who have been questioning this. So, what about knowing the language of the country, whether it's Spanish or Portuguese or German? Is it important? How important is it?
It's different from country to country. For example, in Portugal, almost everybody speaks English, or at least make an effort to understand English. In Spain, they are very patriotic of their language, so often it's difficult to if you don't speak a little bit of Spanish. Um, as for the visas, normally you don't need as a requirement to speak the language. For the permanent residency after 5 years living in a country, or for the citizenship, yes, it's needed to take, in Portugal's case, a Portuguese test. It's A2 level test. In Spain, you also need to know the language, but a little bit more profound than the Portuguese. So yes, it's very important to know the language, but it's not mandatory for the visas. And like I said, in Portugal, almost everybody speaks English.
All right. I just asked because this is one of the most frequently asked questions, and thank you for that, for taking that up. So, my next question to you, Katya, is: do most EU countries, European countries, allow dual residency or dual citizenship for Americans, or are there any exceptions?
Most countries allow the residency without requiring you to renounce the US citizenship. Dual citizenship will, of course, depend on the country. Portugal allows it. You can have up to 3 citizenships. Spain allows it as well. Germany has a little bit more stricter rules, but allows exceptions. So if you are thinking about applying, for example, for the Portuguese citizenship, does not imply losing the one that you already have. You have some countries that you cannot acquire a different citizenship than the one that you already have. On Europe's case, normally you can add up 2 or 3 citizenships, so that will not be a problem for American citizens.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking that up. And Hi, Selomit. Thank you so much for joining us. I can see your questions already, and we are going to take them up very, very soon. So, my next question, Katya, if you can tell us, if you can walk us through the difference between a residency visa, a long term visa, and citizenship in the European context.
So, European Union is very extensive. Even if I wanted, I couldn't walk you through every country because there are lots of countries. However, I can speak about Portugal because it's the one that I live in. And of course, I'm always suspicious to talk about Portugal, but I think it's really a great option in the European context, and it's a beautiful country. So without further ado, I will have a little bit of the differences between the residency visa. So residency visa typically is a visa that allows you to live in the country up to 90 days. In some specific situations, it is possible to extend this period, but it always needs to have some kind of you need to request this extension, okay, and have a valid point for the extension. So you cannot go to our immigration office and request for extension unless you have a real motive to do so. You have long-term visas. These are the ones that are typically granted over the 90 days and in specific situations like work, study, retire, and normally implies that the applicant lives in the country at least 6 months a year, okay, in order to renew. So for retirement or for study or for work, it's always needed to live the 6 months and renew until you make the 5 years if you want to live permanently in Portugal. For the citizenship, it's very different because you already need to have lived in the country. You have countries that start in the 7 years of residency for you to be able to submit the citizenship, and it can go up to 10 years. What happens is, for example, in Portugal, this time was 5 years. The government is now upping to 7 or 10 years, depending on the country. And you need to take the A2 level test. And of course, this is normally granted after several years of residency. For example, in the case of the Golden Visa, you don't need to actually live here. When I say residency, I say legal residency, as in having a legal residency card. And in the Golden Visa case, for example, you only need to stay 7 days a year in order to apply for citizenship, for example. You can also get the permanent residency, which is after 5 years of a non-European citizen living in a country, and it offers you the right to work, to live, access to public services, and you don't need to renew every 10 years, and it's a pathway to citizenship as well. So lots of visas to think about in this context.
Yes, great options out there that you can explore, friends. So definitely look out for them and stay with us because there's so much more to talk about. And, if you have your questions as well, please keep them coming because we are going to take them up shortly here in this session. But right now, it's time for a short break. So please do not go anywhere. Stay tuned here on Immigration Talk Show. Today, we have with us none other than Attorney Cátia Pereira Baptista. And yes, we are speaking about this very important topic. Can you really become a European resident without giving up your US citizenship? So we'll talk more on this, but right after this short break. It's me, Nipasa, on Immigration Talk Show.
You know why I'm vacationing in Dubai right now? Because I stopped drowning in RFEs, intake calls, and late night filings. I used to hire freelancers who barely knew what a G28 was. Total chaos. Then I found IMI support, virtual immigration paralegals trained in real case prep, DocketWise, and USCIS workflows. Now my calendar's clean, my clients are happy, and my firm runs while I relax. You can hustle or you can outsource smart. I chose freedom. I chose Emmy support.
Welcome back, everyone, on Immigration Talk Show. I'm your host, Nipasa, and today we have with us none other than Attorney Cátia Pereira Baptista from the law firm of Keadu Gurera. So it's really lovely having her today because we have been speaking on this. I would say important because at this time of, the year or what is happening right now, if you speak about the scene around immigration, then people have been looking for a lot more options. And Europe is one of the options that they're looking forward, whether it's for studies or for work or even getting a residency or citizenship. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us and keep watching. We are Immigration Talk Show. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. I hope that you have been enjoying this discussion. Please share this and like as well, share with your friends and family or folks out there who can join and benefit and maybe get their questions as well answered. So, yes, I think, Katya, I have more questions, so I'm going to throw them right at you.
No problem.
So, are there any specific income or investment thresholds that US citizens must meet to apply for European residency?
Well, each member state has its own immigration rules and residency permits. Only citizens of European Union countries grant you the right to live and move freely across the European Union. So when we are talking European residency, it's always for a specific country, okay? Only after you become a citizen of that country will you have the right to have the European residence, because you will be able to travel freely and work and study in every European country. For Portugal, for example, you have what we call the D-type visas. They have several numbers. For example, you have D7, which allows a person that has passive income of 870 euros, which is our minimum current minimum wage a month. They can relocate as long as they demonstrate that over 12 months they have that minimum amount of the Portuguese minimum wage per month in passive income. We have other types, the digital nomad, which we call the D8 visa, allows you to remote workers to work from Portugal as long as the monthly income is 4 times Portuguese minimum wage. For the Golden Visa, for example, you don't need any income. You only need to make minimum investment, which starts in 250,000 euros. And you don't need to prove, of course, you will need to pass compliance for the transfer, but you don't have to prove that you have a specific amount of income, only the investment. So depending on the type of visa that you choose, you will have to accommodate the income. But as you can see, for Americans, these are fairly low amounts to be considered for the European residency.
All right. Well, thank you, Katia, for taking that up. And I think we should definitely address some of our viewers' questions. We have Cynthia also has joined us. So let's take up Ricky's comment. Can India-born green card holders have dual citizenship, Indian and US? And can you give some idea on the typical processing time that you are seeing for I-140 petition? I think let's go with the first one first.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a question for Europe, because yes, you can have dual citizenship, but if you have Indian and US citizenship, your question is if you can add European, of course it will depend on the country. In Portugal, yes, it is possible to have the 3 citizenships at the same time.
That's interesting. And I think for the next questions, we might have to skip because they are not based on, well, Europe or even Portugal for that matter. But I'll read them anyway. Thank you so much, Ricky, for dropping them in. His other question was, you know, asking, can you give some idea on the typical processing time that you're seeing for I-140 petition? And we'll have to skip that. And the next was also, can premium processing increase chances of RFE for pending NIW petitions? If so, how much will the chances of RFE increase? Well, Ricky, thank you for your questions, but I think we will have to save them for another time. Right now, if you have any questions, especially if you want to explore Portuguese visa, or maybe go work there, study there, you might as well ask your questions. This next one is from Selomit. What are the different types of visas or residency programs available in Europe that would allow me to live there while keeping my US citizenship? Can you explain the pros and cons of each?
Well, I can't because I would be here all day, but in very short words, you have several options. The first thing is choose the country that you want to apply and the type of visa that makes sense to you, because all of them have some kind of program for study, for working. And in the Portuguese case, for example, you can request the passive income if you have the 80 and 70 euros per month in rent, for example. You can relocate and work in Portugal. If you want, you can work remotely for a US company, for example, or you can find a job here in Portugal. You can also make the investment visa, which starts in 250,000 euros, and you don't have to relocate if you don't want to. You only relocate if you are able or willing to. And all of this, you will not ever lose your US citizenship. So you don't have actually a con in any of these visas. The only con, I would say, is in the D-type visas, you need to relocate to Portugal in this case and be here for at least 6 months a year. If you are not able to relocate. If you go through the investment route, you only need to spend 7 days a year, so you don't have this con per se. But other than that, I would say you don't really have anything to be afraid, because it's fairly straightforward process, and it only takes a little bit of time, but everything starts in the US. And in the Golden Visa case, for example, you don't need to come to Portugal for anything, only for the biometrics appointment. So it's very straightforward process.
It's very nice and good to know. I think this is very appealing. And Selomit, I'm sure if you're looking for your options, go for it. I would say all the best. And she actually has another question. Sorry, she or he, I'm not very sure. But if I get a European residency, will I still have to pay taxes in both the US and Europe? And how do tax laws work in these situations? And is there a way to avoid double taxation?
So again, when we talk Europe, there's a lot of countries. Every country has its own specific rules. So you can choose a country that's more appealing in a tax perspective. For example, in Portugal, you will only become a tax resident if you live here for more than 183 days. If you don't live here for that amount of time, you will not become a tax resident, and you will not need to be taxed in Portugal. For example, if you are an investment visa holder, the Golden Visa, you don't need to become a resident, so you will not be taxed. If you follow the path of any other visa that implies that you live in Portugal, yes, you will be taxed here after you become a tax resident, but Some countries, in the case of Portugal, you have a rule of non-double taxation. So you only be taxed here for what you are not taxed in the US. But in regards to tax matter, it's always best to talk specifics and know what type of income that you have before moving forward. And it's something that we here at our office do, because we have tax lawyers. And if you are willing to give it a try, contact me and I will let you know how it works.
Yes, sure thing. And Selomit and folks out there, if you really need a one-on-one consultation and you might need to speak with Attorney Katia, then why not visit this link which you can see on the screen? Check it out and maybe contact her. This next one is from Cynthia. Cynthia is asking, are there any specific European countries that have more favorable laws and regulations regarding dual citizenship? How can I determine which country might be the best fit for me?
Well, there are a lot of countries, so I would say do your research, because of course I know, for example, that Germany has a little bit more tight laws on the citizenship part. So it's a matter of you doing a quick study of around the European countries and see the one who makes more sense to you, because in your specific situation might be different than the other person. What I can say is normally and typically in Portugal, you can hold up to 3 citizenships and you don't have any kind of discrimination on your citizenship or your birthplace. So in this sense, Portugal is very welcoming. Spain, for example, I know they are too, but the thing is, acquire citizenship is very much harder than it is in Portugal. So the thing that you need to have in consideration, it's not only the welcoming of your citizenship in specific, but how hard will it be for you to become a citizen? So I would start there, do a research, and if you need any help, just let me know.
Definitely, friends. Once again, let me tell you that you can reach out to Attorney Katia, and that you can do by visiting this link, which you can see on the screen. And better even, call us right now since she's here live. We are live right now, and the number is 425-436-6335. And the access code, when they ask for it, you need to dial in 988-888. So join us to ask your questions or just comment wherever you're watching. We are live right now on YouTube, LinkedIn, X, and on Facebook. But also check us out on Instagram. So connect with us and ring that bell icon. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. Like and share with your friends and family and folks who can join us. It's time for another short break, and friends, we will discuss more on this topic with Attorney Cátia Pereira Baptista. Do not go anywhere. Stay tuned on Immigration Talk Show. It's me, Nipasa.
You know why I'm vacationing in Dubai right now? Because I stopped drowning in RFEs, intake calls, and late night filings. I used to hire freelancers who barely knew what a G28 was. Total chaos. Then I found IMI Support, virtual immigration paralegals trained in real case prep, docket-wise, and USCIS workflows. Now my calendar's clean, my clients are happy, and my firm runs while I relax. You can hustle or you can outsource smart. I chose freedom. I chose IMI Support.
Welcome back, everyone, on Immigration Talk Show. I'm your host, Nipasa. And today we have with us Attorney Cátia Pereira Baptista from the law firm of Keadu Guerrera. So it's been lovely having her with us, with over 13 years of experience in civil litigation. And Katia has been a trusted legal advisor to credit institutions, rental companies, and a wide range of service provider. She's from Portugal. So definitely check her out and ask your questions if you are looking to maybe having a future out there in Portugal or even visiting there even. So maybe base your questions on that or call us, if you want to ask the questions yourself. The number is 425-436-6335 and the access code is 988-888. Call us, friends. And well, Katya, I hope you're ready for more questions. I have many more coming.
I am.
So my next question to you is, how does the application process, typically work? Is it something that can be done from the US, or do you need to be in Portugal, since you're basing more of your answers in Portugal? So how to apply?
So normally Portugal and other countries have two types of visas: the ones that you need to apply in your country, in this case in the US, and the ones that can be applied directly in the country. So work visas, retirement, study, all the visas that imply you to move to Portugal typically need to start on your country. So in the coming months, it will be very difficult, I'm saying, to schedule appointments for US residents, because like I said at the beginning, if you are joining now, we are having lots of inquiries from the US, so it's very difficult to book appointments. But normally it's through an appointment online on the VFS site, which is the entity that our state has now to take care of this from the consulate. So first step, choose your visa, book the appointment, and only then you come to Portugal. If, for example, you are looking for the investor's visa, you don't need to book anything. You just need to hire a lawyer. It's not mandatory, but it's highly recommended, because you need to do everything in an online platform, and you will need to have all your documents legalized and certified, etc. So you will not need to come to Portugal only for the biometrics appointment. So only when your visa is pre-approved will you come to Portugal, do your biometrics, and go back to the US, go back to your life. You don't need to be here. So it's typically a two-step process if you are talking about the D-type visa, or the Golden Visa. You only need to come here for the biometrics appointment. No need to request anything.
All right. Thank you so much, Katya, for taking that up. And well, so much more to ask you. So now my next question is, how long does it usually take, from application to approval for a residency permit?
So in Portugal, normally the D-type visas take around 6 to 8 months. Okay, from the moment of the first appointment until you have the appointment here in Portugal. The Golden Visa was taking around 2 years. However, they have a new process and everything is working much smoothly at the present. So they are promising that within 1 year you have everything completed. So D-type visas 6 to 8 months, and Golden Visa up to a year. This in Portugal.
Okay. Well, thank you. That's very good to know, I think. And friends, if you have more questions, keep commenting or dial in the number which you can see on the screen. And do not forget to subscribe. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. Check us out on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on Instagram. So, Katya, for my next question, what kind of documentation do Americans generally need to submit, whether it's financials or insurance, criminal record, etc.?
Okay, so typically for all the visa types, you have documents that are almost certainly needed. So first, passport. Normally it's needed the full copy of the passport. It's very important that it's a scan and not a photograph, because sometimes it's very difficult for us to submit the information with only a photograph. So it's important to be a scan. proof of income if you are applying for a D-type visa, or proof of investment if the goal is the investor's visa. A bank statement for you to prove that you have means of subsistence in the D-type visas. For the Golden Visa, you only will need to prove the source of the money. Health insurance, which is mandatory until you have the visa. The FBI background check, which is the criminal record, and you cannot have the criminal record that has you shown that you were convicted in crimes that in Portugal would be you would be sentenced to prison to over a year, for example. You cannot get a visa if you have a criminal record. Proof of accommodation in the D-type visas. In the Golden Visa, you don't need it. And of course, the visa application forms duly submitted and everything in order. So these are the documents that typically you need to have. The important thing to know is, for example, the criminal record is only valid for 3 months. So don't rush and get the criminal record to submit a visa before you have everything settled and before you have your appointment, because chances are that it will expire and you will have to get a new one. So this is very important.
Thank you so much, Katya, for highlighting those important things to keep in mind, especially with regard to documentation. So
Yeah.
very important process, very important to keep in mind during the whole process. And now the next question is about the typical fees or hidden costs, associated with applying for European residency. If you can talk about them as well.
Of course. So there are very different types of fees depending on the type of residency. Normally, you have two types of fees. You have the legal fees for the lawyers, and you have the government fees. So government fees normally are not very high for the D-type visas. They are between 100 and 500 euros. And the legal fees normally are within 1,000 euros. In some cases, they can be a little bit higher because every case is a case. You always have the translation costs depending on the language of the documents, and you have the apostille of the documents. Normally, it's 95 dollars for documents to be apostille. You will have the health insurance. In Portugal, they are not very expensive, so don't think that the health insurance will be like in the United States. We are talking 30, 40 euros for a person for health insurance, and registration and tax number fees that are 100 to 100 euros. So of course, this will all add up, but a typical visa, it's not very expensive. For the Golden Visa, it's different, okay? Because the fees, only the fees for the government are around 7,000 euros, not including the renewals. And this is per person. You will have an initial fee of more or less 600 euros and per person. And when the card is issued, when you go to the biometrics appointment, it's around 7,000 euros per person. For the investors that want the permanent residency, the government fees are 11,000 euros. I'm sorry. So it's very expensive permanent residency for the investors. These are the costs more or less for the process. Bear in mind that, for example, Golden Visa, we are talking 5-year period. So you will need to dilute this amount for the 5 years. The other visas, you need to renew every 2 years, and only a small fee for the renewal. Normally, it's not very significant.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Katya, for taking that up as well. And I do have more questions. And friends, if you also want to know the answer to this, what rights do you gain as European resident? Can you work, access healthcare or travel freely within the Europe? Well, we are going to get the answer very, very shortly after this break, which is lined up. So do not go anywhere. You're watching us on Immigration Talk Show. This is Nipasa, your host. Don't go anywhere.
You know why I'm vacationing in Dubai right now? Because I stopped drowning in RFEs, intake calls, and late night filings. I used to hire freelancers who barely knew what a G28 was. Total chaos. Then I found IMI support, virtual immigration paralegals trained in real case prep, docket-wise, and USCIS workflows. Now my calendar's clean, my clients are happy, and my firm runs while I relax. You can hustle or you can outsource smart. I chose freedom. I chose IMI support.
Welcome back, everyone, on Immigration Talk Show. I'm your host, Nipasa, and today we have with us none other than Attorney Cátia Pereira Baptista from the law firm of Kea Du Carreira. So it's been really great having you here, Katia. And before the break, I was asking you this question, and I do want to know, especially for folks out there, what rights do you gain as a European resident? Can you work, access healthcare, which is very important, and even travel freely within the European Union?
Okay, so you have two stages. Okay, it's very important to highlight that the European residence, it's not something you acquire with a visa, only with citizenship. So you, for example, in Portugal and in most countries, if you become a resident, you will have the right to live and work and study and have access to all our healthcare system, which is free in Portugal. We'll also have access to security. You will have access to free education. And you can travel the Schengen area up to 90 days. So this is what you get with residency. If further down the line you get the citizenship of a European country, then you will acquire the European residency, which means you are a citizen of a European country, so you can move freely. You don't need visas to work in Spain, for example. I can go to Spain, to Germany, to Italy, to France, and I only need to register there. So I will need to let them know that I'm there, but I don't need anything other than that. So this is the freedom that you want to gain. As long as you have the passport, you can do everything within the European Union. If you only have the residency, then of course you will need to, you will have all those regalies on the country for Portugal or Spain or Italy. So you can do everything in the country, but you will need to, you cannot stay in other European countries more than the 90 days. So the only way of you not having to worry about these timelines is with the citizenship. But other than that, if you don't intend to be traveling around more than the 90 days per 180 days period, you can do whatever you want and benefit for everything that we do as you were Portuguese.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Katia, for taking that up and for giving us a detailed explanation. And guess what? We do have our viewers from our Facebook groups as well who have so many questions which we would like to address them here now. So they're ready. And this first one is actually from an anonymous participant. It's asking, in which section should the cover letter go in VFS self-upload portal?
It will depend on the visa. Okay, you need to choose the visa, the specific visa that you are applying for, and afterwards you should see a list of the appointments that are available. If you are not finding the visa that you are looking for, it's probably because they don't have any open slots. On the VFS website, you will need to spend a day, a week, a month, refreshing and hoping for a slot. Because when they don't have slots available, normally they don't show the visa type that you are looking for, and maybe that's why you are not finding it.
All right. Thank you, Katia, for taking that up. And this
Yeah.
next one is from Wendy asking, Hi, group. Hope you're all well. My mother and father in law have just received their UK visit visa for 6 months. When they come to the UK, we were thinking of taking a short trip to Amsterdam or Germany with them both. Has anyone tried applying to either embassy for a Schengen
Schengen.
visa and sorry, Schengen visa and found it easier if the UK visit visa is in place? Many thanks.
I don't think it really makes a difference, because the normally the difficulty it's on getting the appointment itself, because for United States and the UK, we normally didn't have a big amount of submissions. In your case, you want to travel to Amsterdam. I'm probably they are facing the same problem, because before Brexit, they don't need it. You don't need it, any kind of visa, and now you do. So everything is cramped up. So my advice would be, do it with time, so you don't need to be rushing, because sometimes it's fairly difficult to get an appointment. I don't know how the consulates from Amsterdam are right now, but if I had to guess, I would say that everybody is facing a significant delay, because we are having much more inquiries from the US and from the UK these past months.
Right. Thank you, Katia, for taking that up for Wendy.
You're
This
welcome.
next one is also from an anonymous participant asking, Hi everyone, I received a message from VFS today asking me to collect my passport for my UK visa application. Is there any way to know the decision before collecting it from the center? I didn't get any email about approval or refusal. Appreciate your help if anyone has experience with this.
Well, I don't have lots of experience with UK VFS. I have experience with UK VFS requesting visas to Europe, not the other way around. But I would say if they, because typically when you are notified to gather your passport, it's because the visa was either approved or denied. So you will need to go there and check.
Okay. Thank you, Katia, for taking that up. This next one is asking, I had 6 month visitor visa from December 2024 to June 2025, and I visited UK 2 times during the 6 months, and every visits take 3 weeks and returned SL before my visa expires. I'm a doctor from Sri Lanka and I wanted to apply for 5 years visa as visitor. In my cover letter, what are the things I need to include for the success visa approval? For some personal reasons, I would like to visit UK frequently. No plan for asylum. That's why I wanted 5 year visa.
Yeah, I'm not from UK. I see that we are having lots of inquiries from UK. UK, it's not even part of the European Union, so I really can't help with UK visas. But I can, if you want, contact me, and I will refer to someone that can help you with all that you need for the UK. Because I don't feel comfortable, because I don't have the experience on those types of visas.
All right. So, folks out there, definitely visit this link, which you can see on the screen, in case you want to speak with Attorney Cátia Pereira Baptista. So, check her out, contact her, and maybe get your answers, because every case is different and more information is definitely needed. So, I think it's best to consult directly. So, thank you, Katia, for taking that up.
You're
And
very welcome.
all right, so I do have more questions. And now, if you could tell us, are there legal or consultancy services people should consider to avoid mistakes, during the application?
Well, mistakes to avoid. Normally, the thing that can imply more with any application for any country are the forms. They need to be well submitted, and they will need to be written in a context that the reader can understand what's there. So that is very important. And of course, the criminal record. Okay, it's very important to have the criminal records translated. All the documents should be translated, but the criminal record, it's very, very important. And sometimes you will need like a legal translation, because a literal translation, it's not sufficient, because you can have something there that it's a misdemeanor and does not have any relevance for the visa, but a normal translator will translate it to the letter. So the reader will not know what that is in the other country's context. So spend a little money, if you have, on the legal translation for the criminal record, if that's the case, of course, and avoid mistakes like trying to submit everything by yourself without checking with somebody that has experience, because some visas, like a Schengen visa, it's fairly easy to obtain. So you make the appointment, you go there, you say what are your intentions to visit the other country, everything goes well. If we are talking about the work visa, for example, you need to prove a lot of circumstances, and it's very important to talk with somebody that knows and can guide you through all the visa process.
Right. Right. Thank you so much, Katia, for taking that up as well, and for patiently taking so many of our questions. I still have more, so I hope you have a little more time to spend with us.
I do.
All right. So my next question is, you know, are there any limitations or obligations that come with residency, whether you talk about taxes, minimum stay requirements, or reporting duties?
Okay. So again, it will depend on the visa type. Okay, limitations on the minimum stay. For example, for the D-type visas, you need to spend at least 6 months per year, in this case in Portugal. So minimum stay 6 months for the D-type visas. Work, retire, even the high qualified, any type of D-type visa, you need 6 months or more. For the Golden Visa, which is the investment visa, you only need to spend 7 days a year. Taxes. You will become a tax resident if you stay over 183 days a year. So look out for that. If you are holding, for example, a work visa, after the 183 days, you will become a tax resident, and my advice is consult with a lawyer or with an accountant, so you know what to expect on the tax perspective. And the renewals. It's very important to know that your card has expiry date, and to be attentive to the renewals. Typically, they are every 2 years, so be aware of that deadline for you to submit the renewal. So in very basic lines, these are the obligations that come with residency. So the minimum stay, the tax after 183 days, and of course the renewals of the cars that you need to keep track if you don't want to lose your permit.
Okay. Thank you so much, Katia, for addressing that as well. And friends, do check us out. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. Like and share our content with your friends and family out there who can also benefit and participate in this conversation we're having right now with Attorney Cátia Pereira Baptista from, Kayado Law. So check us out, and nothing better, because we do have more questions, and this is your chance, to ask your questions directly. Call us on this number 425-436-6335, and the access code is 988-888. So, Katia, I do have more questions, and it's actually a case study. So, this is about David and Linda, who are a retired couple with $55,000 per year in income, and they want to retire in Italy or France. They're not looking to work, just settle and enjoy life in Europe. So, can retired Americans like David and Linda get long term residency in countries like Italy or France? And what basic financial or healthcare requirements must they meet?
So normally for retire, the importance of the income that needs to be passive income. Okay, so you need to wait until you are actually getting your pension, or you can retire without being old. We all aspire to that. So you can have rents, you can have any kind of investment that gives you return, and with that you can apply for a passive income visa, which is typically associated with the retirement visas. So with the 50 in the Portuguese case, for example, 55,000 euros dollars would be more than sufficient for David and Linda to retire. Of course, you will need to find out if the countries have different amounts for the income, and the quality of life that you can have with that income. Italy is a little bit more expensive. Portugal, it's Portugal, so you can do a lot with that type of income. So I would probably share that the most important, it's not only to see if you fulfill the requirements for the visa, but as well the quality of life that you can have. So look that up before you decide on the country. Europe, it's all beautiful countries, it's fairly secure, and the thing is where you feel more comfortable and where you want to spend more time, and with that amount of income, as long as they don't have criminal record, they should be able to get residency, whomever they like.
Yeah, sure. Sounds really very fascinating. Thank you, Katia, for taking that up as well. So
Very
there's
welcome.
another case study, and this is, about Sarah, who is a U.S. citizen, earning $85,000 per year as a freelance graphic designer, and she wants to live in Europe long term, but keep her U.S. citizenship. So she's considering countries like Spain or Portugal. And the question is, can Sarah qualify for a digital nomad visa in Europe without giving up her US citizenship? And what would her path to long term residency look like?
So we are talking in Portuguese case, the amounts that you need to earn are fairly low compared to the ones that you earned in the US. So in Sarah's case, she will need 4 times Portuguese minimum wage, which is 870 euros at the present, in order to be work as a digital nomad in Portugal, for example. So she would more than qualify with the income that she has. If she likes Portugal, what she can do is keep the freelance graphic designer job, keep working in Portugal for 5 years. After the 5 years, she can apply for the permanent residency and have a card, and that card would be valid for 10 years. After the time that she meets the requirements for Portugal at the moment, it's 5 years. For Spain, it's 10 years of living in the country. She can apply for citizenship as long as she passes the test. In the Portugal case, it's A2 level test. Spain is a little bit tighter, but only speaking a little bit of for Sarah to acquire the long-term residency and become a citizen if she wants.
That sounds really good. Thank you so much, Katia, for taking that up.
You're very welcome.
So, you know, I was wondering, why are so many Americans considering European residency? And is it about lifestyle, work, healthcare, or something else? Especially that you said that you've received a lot of applications recently, right? Would you like
Yeah,
to tell us about it?
of course. So until 2 3 months ago, we were talking key reasons: better work-life balance, quality and affordability of healthcare, safety and education. We get lots of clients that have.
Oh, I think there is a disconnect with Katia, but I really hope that she can come back, for answering our questions. And friends out there, what I would like to say is check us out. We are at Immigration Talk Show here on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and on X. Check us out, and subscribe to us as well. I really hope that Katia can join us back. But meanwhile, let's take a very short break. Don't go anywhere. It's me, Nipasa, on Immigration Talk Show.
You know why I'm vacationing in Dubai right now? Because I stopped drowning in RFEs, intake calls, and late night filings. I used to hire freelancers who barely knew what a G28 was. Total chaos. Then I found IMI Support, virtual immigration paralegals trained in real case prep, docket-wise, and USCIS workflows. Now my calendar's clean, my clients are happy, and my firm runs while I relax. You can hustle or you can outsource smart. I chose freedom. I chose IMI Support.
Welcome back, friends, on Immigration Talk Show. It's Napasa here, and there has been a technical issue, but we were super glad to be able to cover a lot with none other than Attorney Cátia Pereira Baptista from the law firm of Kea do Guerrera. So, folks, if you do have more questions, check her out and visit this link, which you can see on the screen. It was a great show, nevertheless. I really wish she could be here for just the end notes that she would like to share, but it was lovely having you with us, Katia. So check her out, because it was really an honor and a pleasure to have her with us, a team leader and associate lawyer at the Immigration Department of Kea do Guerrero. So yes, with over 13 years of experience in civil litigation, Katia has been a trusted legal advisor to credit institutions, even rental companies, and a wide range of service providers. And she also plays a key role in managing asset portfolios both for national and international investors, especially in areas of non performing loans or NPL and real estate owned REO assets. So check her out for sure. And it was really lovely having you with us, Katia. I wish we could still continue our conversation, but it was a great show indeed. Really great having you. So, friends, once again, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. And check us out on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and on X. And ring that bell so that whenever we have discussions like these, you can also join us. And I would say stay tuned on Immigration Talk Show because we have a lot more coming in that you don't want to miss out. And if you have your questions which you want to direct them to me, or maybe have some suggestions or some things you want to share with me as well, you can get in touch with me. I have a phone number which also has a WhatsApp. The number is 408-335-6444, and you can email me at nipa@staffingly.com. So this is it for now. Y'all out there, keep on having a great day ahead and keep watching Immigration Talk Show.
You know why I'm vacationing in Dubai right now? Because I stopped drowning in RFEs, intake calls, and late night filings. I used to hire freelancers who barely knew what a G28 was. Total chaos. Then I found IMI Support, virtual immigration paralegals trained in real case prep, docket-wise, and USCIS workflows. Now my calendar's clean, my clients are happy, and my firm runs while I relax. You can hustle or you can outsource smart. I chose freedom. I chose IMI Support.